She's #1 at being dumb, the new face of the DNC. Gather round, cause that's our Jazzy.
Yeah, baby.
Jasmine Crockett's got another hot take. No blacks and whites on a wedding cake. The Democrats' new chosen one, Jasmine Crockett, is in the news again for an old clip where she attacked Florida Rep. Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman.
Greg Gutfeld unleashed absolute chaos on Jasmine Crockett live on national television, and it turned into a disaster she'll never forget. With blistering sarcasm and unstoppable energy, Gutfeld dismantled her every move, shredding her act until she was left gasping for words in front of millions. This wasn't a debate. It was a public takedown that hit like a storm. Crockett came armed with rehearsed lines, but Gutfeld showed up ready for battle, and the clash was explosive. The crowd didn't just sit back quietly, they roared with excitement as social media caught fire within seconds. If politics ever seemed dull before, this moment proved it can ignite like a live wire. The screen was pure chaos, and Jasmine Crockett never even realized she was losing control until it was far too late.
Or literally, it's because you married a white woman and so you think that that whitewashed you.
That's not very woke, is it? Of course, Crockett isn't the only Democrat who's opposed to interracial marriage, or else more Democrats would have voted for this one. Racist!
Greg Gutfeld doesn't just argue, he obliterates. Every exchange with him turns into a scorched earth showdown where no one walks away unscathed. He's not interested in polite back and forths or carefully worded debates. Instead, he cuts through the nonsense like a political buzzsaw, fueled by sarcasm sharper than a blade and an energy that shatters every scripted line in sight. So when Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett strutted into the spotlight, flashing her trademark theatrics and chasing her next viral moment, the clash wasn't just possible, it was guaranteed. And when it finally happened, it hit like an earthquake, shaking live television to its core. The instant Crockett tried to inflate her ego and turn a committee hearing into her personal stage, she sealed her fate. Her biggest mistake was believing Gutfeld would handle her gently, like the mainstream media usually does. But he came armed with zero mercy and not a hint of hesitation.
Plantation.
Tyrus, I go to you for no particular reason. Is she making any point there?
Like this makes me wish my mom made different father choices. Because we all get sucked into this. Like, this is... If you're going to talk about black history, at least know it. This is... At least know it, okay?
If you thought the clash was intense already, don't blink. It's about to explode even further. Instead of playing it safe, Jasmine Crockett charged straight into the lion's den, unprepared, overconfident, and completely outmatched. She's never been known for deep, meaningful arguments. Her strength has always been performance. A politician in name, but an actress at heart. Crockett has mastered the art of drowning out her opponents with volume, tossing buzzwords like confetti, and delivering tantrums polished enough for TikTok fame. Her entire career has thrived on viral outbursts, dramatic comebacks, and turning every microphone into her personal spotlight. To her devoted fans, this might look like bold activism, but to everyone else watching, it's just empty noise dressed up as courage. A spectacle built on style, not substance.
But it goes back to, that was 45 seconds of some of the, like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass talk. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation and factories? Get rid of the lottery. Open it up. Talk to the president. Like, hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea besides, any of y'all want to pick cotton? We're like, we're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? It's like the extreme stupidness of what she speaks. I'm so angry right now. And
Greg Gutfeld doesn't waste a second on empty noise. He slices right through it with sniper-like precision and that trademark grin that practically says, I know how this ends, and you're not going to like it. So when Jasmine Crockett launched into one of her trademark performances, packed with deflection, dramatics, and predictable political theatrics, Gutfeld didn't step in to debate politely. He stepped in to roast, and wow, did he roast her? Each punchline landed like a truth bomb, exposing what everyone else had been thinking but was too afraid to say out loud. Crockett wasn't standing there as a confident lawmaker. She was stripped down to the role she's perfected, a walking viral moment clinging to the spotlight with overblown gestures and exaggerated outrage.
She's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
When the wheels fall off.
You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
She wasn't stepping up to ask real questions. She was performing a monologue for herself, lost in her own spotlight. She wasn't defending genuine ideas. She was chasing applause with hollow one-liners designed for quick clips and cheap clicks. And to Greg Gutfeld, that's the lowest kind of political theater there is. His takedown didn't need to be loud. It was calm, calculated, and dripping with pure disdain. Gutfeld didn't shout or grandstand. He simply held up a mirror, and the reflection was devastating. What Jasmine Crockett saw staring back was her own empty rhetoric, glaring contradictions, and the fragile logic that held her entire persona together. This wasn't just another televised spat. It was the unraveling of a brand built on drama. Crockett has long crowned herself the queen of committee theatrics, delivering meltdowns filled with wild gestures, dramatic pauses, and buzzwords made for headlines. But this time, her one-woman act came crashing down as Gutfeld dismantled it piece by piece, exposing every fake outrage, every exaggerated move, and every scripted controversy with razor-sharp wit and brutally simple truth.
Kilmeade, she's getting to be the face of that party.
I know, thanks to your show.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more popular, this or The View on Gutfeld. But a couple of things. Did you see, at first I thought she was doing it for comedic purposes, but you watch back, nobody had a response. They didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And she's like, oh, really? Farming? Yes, it's called eating, farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it, and the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. So I was just stunned by what she's saying. But the weird thing is, she probably left that room thinking she knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that anyone can stop her from being the face of the party, except Bernie Sanders, who's 111 years old, talking about oligarchs.
He tore apart the absurdity of her outrage, revealing the contradictions laced through every one of her rants. One moment she preached unity, and the next she was accusing anyone who disagreed with her of being part of some grand conspiracy to silence her so-called brilliance. Gutfeld didn't flinch. He sliced right through the performance and exposed it for what it truly was. A polished act meant to distract from an uncomfortable truth, that she's achieved almost nothing of real substance. And that's when things got brutal. Gutfeld didn't just mock her theatrics. He went straight for the core, dissecting her record, or rather, the glaring absence of one. For all her fiery speeches and endless energy, Jasmine Crockett's impact in Congress has been almost invisible. No groundbreaking legislation, no real achievements, just a constant loop of viral clips and puffed-up interviews, recycling the same worn-out talking points with louder volume each time. Gutfeld peeled back the layers until nothing was left but the truth. Crockett isn't a leader, she's a brand. A personality crafted for headlines, more reality TV than representative, mistaking chaos for charisma. Sure, she might rack up followers and spark flashy headlines, but when it comes to serving the nation, it all amounts to absolutely nothing.
Do you have an opinion on this? Or should I move on to somebody?
No, I just... It has to come from me.
Yes.
Okay. None of y'all are qualified. Not just for one thing, I'm mad at Charmaine the Guy because he should have kicked her out. See, the problem is that we are allowing our own culture to be openly racist and get away with it. Now, if a white person is offended by that, and they should be, they say something, it's like, it's not the same thing. But if you say that and another brother looks at you and goes, man, you wrong for that, and I don't want you on my show, get the hell out, because I'm telling you right now, if I was not on the show, which happens sometimes, and someone was sitting in his chair and he was complaining about black men this and black that, and they shouldn't be here, and you know what happens when a white woman marries a black guy, you would not have seen that guy in the next segment. He would have kicked his ass off, because you're not going to talk about somebody that I care about like that, or another person like that. That's the problem.
Crockett's defenders came charging in, shouting the same tired lines, crying identity politics and claiming every criticism was rooted in bigotry, misogyny, or fear of her supposed power. But Gutfeld wasn't fooled for even a second. He cut straight through the noise with surgical precision, reminding everyone that criticism isn't hate, it's accountability. And if she can't handle accountability, maybe politics was never her stage to begin with. The public's reaction was ruthless. Social media went into a frenzy. Memes spread like wildfire. One viral image showed Gutfeld towering over a cartoonish Crockett with the caption, "Sit down and learn something." Others replayed the exchange like a UFC knockout, complete with humiliating slow-motion clips that left no room for doubt about who won. But here's the brutal truth. Crockett scripted this disaster herself. No one cornered her. No one set her up. She marched into the spotlight, microphone in hand, ready to steal the show, and forgot one critical fact. Greg Gutfeld doesn't spar, he scorches. While she scrambled to spin, deflect, and shout her way out, Gutfeld dismantled her with facts, wit, and sarcasm sharp enough to slice through steel.
Yeah, all right, stop it! Although I must say you have great taste. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Oh, man. Okay.
It was like watching someone try to fight fire with glitter. Flashy, noisy, but utterly doomed from the very beginning. Even her usual allies started quietly stepping back, realizing this was a catastrophe no one wanted to defend. Gutfeld wasn't just dismantling a single bad soundbite. He was taking aim at an entire political style built on spectacle over substance. He exposed the hollow showmanship of a new wave of lawmakers who think viral clips can replace real leadership. And he did it with humor so sharp it practically sliced through the air. Then came the knockout punch. After shredding her logic, ridiculing her theatrics, and exposing the emptiness behind her record, Gutfeld delivered a brutal reminder of what true leadership really means. It's not about who can shout the loudest, not about faking outrage for clicks, and definitely not about tossing cheap insults just to trend online. Leadership is about results, not memes, not hollow slogans, and certainly not TikTok tantrums. Jasmine Crockett learned the hard way that when you trade action for attention, Greg Gutfeld will be right there, torching your talking points, calling your bluff, and leaving you in complete, unforgettable humiliation.
Jesse, they call Musk a Nazi, and next thing you know, you got swastikas on cars. They called Trump Hitler and a Nazi and a fascist, and he got shot. So I don't really ever see that happening on the Republican side when we make fun of Democrats. It's also about the supporters. It's not just the leaders. It seems like Democrats are easily programmed to do bad things.
Yes, they are. They're very easily programmed, Greg.
I made you say that.
This wasn't just a takedown, it was a flashing warning sign for anyone addicted to the sugar rush of social media applause. Greg Gutfeld didn't simply dismantle Jasmine Crockett's act, he turned it into a brutal lesson for every politician who thinks shouting louder or staging TikTok tantrums counts as leadership. With one razor-sharp message, he cut across their entire playbook. We see you, we're tired, and we're not impressed. The truth was impossible to ignore. This wasn't a debate, and it wasn't even close to an even match. It was the intellectual equivalent of an ambush at a vegan potluck, with Gutfeld barging in, carrying a rack of ribs and a megaphone, blowing the entire room apart. Crockett tried to rally the crowd with her usual mix of outrage and buzzwords, but her credibility sank faster than a leaking submarine. And this time, the audience wasn't fooled. No applause, no sympathy. Just the heavy, suffocating silence of secondhand embarrassment. The kind you feel when someone stages a grand stunt and crashes spectacularly in front of millions.
First, they cursed, now they thirst for blood. Jasmine Crockett is upping her temper tantrums, now saying the only way Democrats can win elections is by throwing hands.
I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. It's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right?
Crockett scrambled to recover, flailing like a broken robot, tossing out buzzwords like systemic oppression, voice of the people, and the classic, let me finish. But every line bounced off Gutfeld's calm, unshaken grin like rubber on steel. It was like watching someone try to put out a raging grease fire by yelling at it. Flashy, loud, and utterly useless. Meanwhile, Gutfeld looked as relaxed as if he were already thinking about lunch, dismantling her arguments with surgical precision. Steady, sharp, and devastating. His delivery was so smooth it bordered on comedic, like reading from a perfectly timed script. Thank you for your outrage. Please hold while we transfer you to someone who cares. He wasn't just winning, he was coasting, not breaking a sweat. You could almost hear elevator music playing in his head while Crockett scrambled to save face. And the audience? They weren't just watching, they were devouring every second. Every sarcastic jab landed like a confetti cannon exploding in a room full of fragile egos. Laughter erupted, heads shook in disbelief, and Crockett's so-called courage collapsed into a live spectacle of what happens when loud theatrics crash headfirst into cold, hard reality.
Now, she claims that she wasn't talking about Abbott's wheelchair at all. Yet she's mentioned Abbott's wheels before. In 2022, she posted Beto's rolling around the state. Where's Abbott rolling to? And according to the Washington Free Beacon, Crockett also liked several Facebook comments referring to Abbott as Hot Wheels back in 2020.
Her supporters scrambled to patch the wreckage, firing off frantic tweets and rushing to write think pieces within minutes. Some even tried emotional Instagram posts about misogyny, but no hashtag on earth could erase the scorch marks Gutfeld had left behind. The damage wasn't temporary. This wasn't a slip, it was a total collapse. The so-called Empress wasn't just exposed. She was live streaming her own downfall in real time. And Gutfeld, he had already walked away from the battlefield, calm expression saying it all. He knew he had won. This wasn't a spat, it was a cultural autopsy. A brutal dismantling not just of Jasmine Crockett, but of every politician who confuses clout with competence and tantrums with leadership. What made it sting even more was his composure. Gutfeld never raised his voice. No table slams, no shouting, just razor-sharp mockery and fact after fact, delivered with the timing of a late-night comic and the patience of someone who has seen this circus 100 times before. He wasn't angry, he was bored, and that boredom cut deeper than any outrage ever could. Crockett stayed on stage, gripping the microphone, waiting for applause that never came. It was politics turned karaoke, pouring her heart out to an empty room, only to realize the mic had never even been on.
How long is she going to keep this thing that she wasn't talking about, the wheelchair?
Yeah. Come on, babe, you know you're full of and all that, Jasmine. I think what happened was AOC was like, you guys, I need to triangulate and be serious now because I'm going to be a senator. So someone has to be a talking attention whore. Who's it going to be? And Jasmine raised her hand and goes, excuse me, Congresswoman Cortez, I speak jive.
What it is, mama.
She threw everything she had at it, but it still fell flat. Because loud volume isn't vision, and hashtags will never replace a real governing plan. This wasn't left versus right anymore. It was substance versus spectacle, reality versus showmanship. Gutfeld didn't just take down one politician. He tore the curtain back on an entire trend infecting American politics. The rise of the viral lawmaker. These are the politicians who treat Congress like an influencer house, seeing the chamber as a stage and every bill as a script begging for clicks. That's the real warning here. Politics isn't a stage, it isn't a reality show, and it isn't a launch pad for clout chasing disguised as activism. It's not a playground for endless slogans with zero results, and it's certainly not a place where noise can replace real value. And if you dare treat it that way, Greg Gutfeld will be waiting in the wings, armed with wit sharp enough to torch your act and turn your career into a cautionary tale. Jasmine Crockett learned that lesson the hardest way possible. Live in front of millions with no escape and no applause to save her.